Okay, so you've delivered a good edit, the client seemed happy, the project wrapped up smoothly. And then nothing. No follow-up, no referral, your client just moved on. If this has happened to you, you've probably wondered what went wrong. Maybe the client was harder to please than you thought, or maybe they just didn't value the work in the end. But here's what I've learned from being on the other side, from hiring, commissioning, and working with dozens of video editors over the years. Most of the time, the edit was fine. The problem was likely something else entirely. Something most editors never get told about because clients rarely take the time to explain it to them. And that's what this video is going to give you, a window into what's actually happening on the client side of things. And once you see it, you'll understand exactly what needs to change. But first, why should you even care? Because recurring work with your existing clients is everything. It's far easier to grow with a client who already trusts you than to constantly chase new work, prove yourself from scratch, and start the relationship over and over again. Clients who enjoy working with you tend to come back. They're more open to you increasing your rate over time, and they refer you to their peers and their network, which means work that finds you rather than you having to find it. And that's the goal, long-term compounding relationships, not one-off projects that lead nowhere. And here's the thing, most editors never build this. Not because they're not talented editors, but because nobody ever showed them what actually drives it all. So in this video, let me show you. Now let's start at the very beginning. I had to learn this the hard way myself. When I started out in my own career about 8 years ago, I had no real idea what I was doing. I was working at a company where the CEO had built a culture of candid feedback. And honestly, it could be pretty brutal at times. But you got conditioned to ask for feedback and to push for high standards in both yourself and in others. I remember a conversation where I openly expressed my frustration at my own lack of progress and experience and how that might be affecting the team. It was pretty uncomfortable, but asking for feedback on every video production, on how I was showing up, on my own performance, gave me a level of resilience I didn't have before. And more importantly, it gave me a toolkit. Feedback is hard to stomach sometimes, but it's important to remember you're more than your work, and it's rarely personal. It usually comes from a place of wanting you to improve. And the way you choose to receive and handle that feedback will often dictate the pace of your career growth and the circles that you can gain access to. And I'm telling you this because I'm about to share what might be an uncomfortable truth to hear. I'm not speaking from some ivory tower here, and I've had to learn these lessons too. And the difference now is that I've spent years on the client side as well, hiring, managing, and developing video editors. And I've seen the same patterns of behavior over and over again. The things that hold people back in their careers and the things that set people apart. So let me give you that perspective. Here's what most video editors don't realize about what clients actually experience with working with them. From the video editor side, a project usually looks like this. You might get a brief, you do the edit, you handle the revisions, and you deliver the files. Done. But from the client side, there's often a lot more going on. They're also juggling a dozen things. Your edit, which is 100% of your focus at that time, might be just 2 or 3% of theirs. They've got revenue targets, strategy meetings, team issues, 100 Slack messages. The video is a means to an end for them. It's part of a bigger problem that they're trying to solve internally, whether that's customer acquisition, sales, brand awareness. And in the end, the video isn't their world. It's just a tool for them. So when communication is unclear or updates don't come from you as the video editor, perhaps deadlines slip without any kind of explanation, it's not just annoying, it adds a layer of mental load, and they're already stretched quite thin. Let me give you a concrete example here. We commissioned editing work with clear deadlines for first revisions. When an editor misses that deadline, the issue isn't necessarily the delay. Things happen in life, timelines might have to shift, and life gets in the way. The issue is when I have to chase them up as the client to find out what's going on. If they'd messaged me first saying, hey, I'm running behind because of X, Y, and Z reason, here's what I'm doing about it, that's fine, that's professional. But when I have to be the one to reach out, to ask what's happening, to pull the information out of them, that's when the trust starts to erode in the relationship. And here's the thing, most editors don't even realize this is happening because clients rarely choose to explain it to them. It's far easier for them just to not rebook you, not to refer you, and to move on to someone else. With freelancing especially, there's so much talent available that it's often easier for a client to find another editor entirely than to invest time in helping you develop. And that's just the reality. When someone does take time to give you feedback, really take heed of it. It's quite rare and it's super valuable for you. Now, here's where this gets encouraging. If most editors don't get this feedback and most clients don't bother explaining it, then that means that the bar is set pretty low. And not the bar for editing quality, that's expected, but the bar for how you operate, how you communicate, and how easy you are to work with. Most editors are competing on the edit, and very few are competing on the experience of working with them, which means small changes here have an outsized impact. And this is the kind of advice that 90% of people won't bother to act on. They'll watch this video perhaps, nod along, and then go back to doing the same things the same way. But if you actually implement some of this, if your communication improves, your systems tighten up, your collaborations start to feel easier for clients, you'll just outstrip the competition. And not just because of the quality of your work, but in the trust you build, in the reputation you develop for yourself. Your name will stick with people for longer. And that's what leads to recurring work, referrals, and higher rates over time. So what are clients actually paying you for beyond the actual edit itself? Well, when I hire or commission a freelancer, I'm paying for professionalism. I'm paying for systems, I'm paying for communication, and I'm paying for work ethic. Fundamentally, though, what I'm paying for is trust. I want to trust that you have this handled and that you'll keep me informed. You'll reduce my mental load and not add to it. And this is what separates junior editors from senior level editors. The senior editor understands the client isn't just buying a deliverable. They're buying into a relationship. And if that relationship works well, they want to continue it for the long term. I've worked with a lot of editors, and there's only a handful I'd choose to rebook without some hesitation. And it's not because they're dramatically more talented than the other editors, it's because working with them is easy. They book a call at the start to understand the context of the project, not just the brief, but the actual business goals behind it. They guide me through what the process of working with them will look like, and they check in proactively. And at the end of the project, they ask for feedback. This almost never happens, but when it does, it's memorable. And it's the reason that those editors keep getting work. And so how do you actually do all this? I realize there's quite a lot to unpack here. Well, let me give you 3 specific moments where you can make a difference for you and your clients. First up, don't wait to be onboarded onto the project. Initiate a call yourself. Ask how they'd like to give you feedback, ask what their expectations of the project are, and ask this question. At the end of this project, if everything's gone to plan, what would success look like to you? Now, that one question gives you clarity on what actually matters to their business, and it signals immediately that you're someone who gets it. Check in before they have to chase you. A quick message, email, Slack voice note to confirm things are on track. Just a quick update, everything's on track for the deliverable on Friday. Anything else you need from me? That single message removes more anxiety than you might realize, and it takes 30 seconds. Next up, ask for feedback directly. Ask your client, how did that go for you? Was there anything I could do better the next time? If something didn't land, own it. I don't think I really nailed X, Y, and Z. If we work together again, here's what I'd do differently. That honesty builds more trust with your client than pretending everything was perfect. And it puts you miles ahead of video editors who just disappear after delivery. And let me leave you with this. You have the scope to build any kind of career you want as a video editor. Depending on where you're at in your life, your commitments, your circumstances, you can go all in on improving. 2 or 3 years feels like quite a long time, but it will pass quickly, trust me. The question you want to figure out the answer to is how much further ahead do you want to be once that time has passed? In your career, in your earnings, the caliber of your clients, and your reputation. 1 times where you are just now? 2 times? Or 10 times? The editors who make that leap aren't necessarily more talented. They're the ones that have figured out what we've talked about today, that the experience of working with you is part of the product, that clients are paying for trust, not just deliverables, and that small changes in how you operate can compound into a completely different career trajectory. And here's one sentence I want you to take away. Find out what success looks like for your client, then make sure you deliver on that. So now you understand what clients are actually paying for with the project and why the experience matters as much as the edit. There's a deeper question underneath all this, and that's what I'll break down in this next video. So watch this video if you want to learn how trust is actually built and sustained between you and your client base. And importantly, what the specific components are that make a client feel confidence in you with each new project. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.